The Taliban's control of Afghanistan will affect Israel's security, former defense minister, Moshe Ya'alon, warned yesterday. Despite the great distance between Afghanistan and Israel, the withdrawal of the United States forces and the Taliban's control over the country will have repercussions on Washington's position in the Middle East, and on Israel's security, Ya'alon wrote on Twitter. Afghan media recently reported that President Ashraf Ghani had left the country for Tajikistan, as Taliban forces were entering the borders of the capital Kabul. Other sources close to the Taliban told Afghanistan's TOLO News that the group and the government had reached a deal, which stipulated that Ghani leaves his post and hand over power to a transitional government. A photo showed more than 600 Afghans, women, men, children, and the elderly, sitting packed on the floor of a cavernous U.S. military plane, part of a dramatic airlift hours after Kabul fell to the Taliban, the U.S. military said. About 640 Afghans were on board. The official said, military flights evacuating diplomats and civilians from Afghanistan have started taking off. At least 7 people died in Monday's chaos, including several people who clung to the sides of a jet as it took off. The position at the airport is stabilizing, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab told Sky News. The stability at the airport is absolutely key. The Taliban has declared an amnesty across Afghanistan, and urged women to join its government, trying to calm nerves across a tense capital city that only the day before saw chaos at its airport as thousands mobbed the city's international airport in a desperate attempt to flee. In Washington, D.C., U.S. President Joe Biden said he stood squarely behind his decision to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, and fired scorching criticism at the country's former Western-backed leadership for failing to resist the Taliban. Taylor said, there will be approximately 4,000 troops on the ground by the end of Tuesday with more to come in. He said, the airport is secure, and that the U.S. mission hopes to be able to evacuate between 5,000 to 9,000 people a day from now, until the White House mandated end of the mission August 31. The Taliban have meanwhile declared the war in Afghanistan over, and a senior leader said, the group would wait until foreign forces had left before creating a new governance structure. Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, one of the co-founders of the Taliban, now heads its political office, and is part of the negotiating team that the group has in Doha, where talks on a ceasefire had been underway. China said it was ready for friendly relations with the Taliban, while Russia and Iran also made diplomatic overtures. Beijing has been among the first to embrace the group next door. China FM Wang Yi's endorsement of the Taliban's important role in governing Afghanistan provided a crucial boost of legitimacy for an organization that has long been a global pariah. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov urged all ethnic groups in Afghanistan to gather for talks on the country's future after the fall of its government. Lavrov also said, it was a positive sign that the Taliban has demonstrated willingness to take into account the position of other groups. Uganda said it had agreed to a request from the United States to take in temporarily 2,000 refugees from Afghanistan fleeing after the Taliban takeover. President Emmanuel Macron has said France, Germany, and other EU countries are working on a coordinated response against expected irregular migratory flows from Afghanistan, where the Taliban's takeover has fueled fears among rights groups of a looming crisis. Germany is ending development aid to Afghanistan in light of the Taliban's takeover there, said German Development Minister Gerd Müller. Turkey is in talks with all parties in Afghanistan including the Taliban, and views the messages of the group, since taking control of the country positively. Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu said, Turkey dropped plans to take over Kabul airport after NATO's withdrawal from Afghanistan, but is ready to provide support if the Taliban request it. India's public broadcaster reported that the plane carried more than 120 Indian officials. Another military aircraft brought home around 40 Indian diplomats and other staff on Monday, local media reported. The Indian government also announced a new electronic visa that would fast-track applications from Afghans who wish to escape to India. The political chief of Palestinian resistance group Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, has congratulated the Taliban on the end of the U.S. occupation of Afghanistan. This came in a phone call between Haniyeh and Taliban leader Abdul Ghani Baradar on Monday. Haniyeh said, the end of the U.S. occupation of Afghanistan is a prelude to the demise of all occupation forces, foremost of which is the Israeli occupation of Palestine, according to Hamas website. Taliban leader Abdul Ghani Baradar expressed his gratitude for Ismail Haniyeh's call, wishing Palestine victory and empowerment. The foreign minister Qureshi shared Pakistan's perspective, noting the significant change in the situation within a short span, and the avoidance of violence, read the Pakistani statement. Pakistan underlined that Pakistan would remain closely engaged with the US and other international partners in promoting efforts in support of a peaceful and stable Afghanistan, and stressed that continued US economic engagement with Afghanistan was of crucial importance as well. Stay tuned for the latest news,